investigator that's just here to administer this polygraph. Now I'm here for the truth.
We do not have to talk about that. So, I'm not allowed to polygraph. Is there an option right now? Because we do not have to polygraph. So I know you would be accepted. So that's not even an issue right now. The issue right now is what happens to Shan, Bella, and Celeste. I want them back home. But you know they're not coming back home.
I was shutting down his continued plea for his wife and kids to come home, because at that point we knew that was not going to happen. I felt like he had done something horrible to his wife and the kids.
Where the rubber meets the road, right?
Immediately after he's confronted with the deception, within just a couple of minutes, he starts to offer investigators a reason as to why maybe he showed deception on the polygraph. And he chooses the most innocuous thing that he could possibly admit to.
There's the victim blaming, so that it's easier for the suspect to say, yeah, it wasn't all just me, like I did it because they pushed me to it, or I was forced to do it, giving Chris a possible route.
I don't want to get involved in this. I don't want to get in her way. You all know. So we didn't need to ask you about her in the polygraph.
Special Agent Coder kind of adds that in at the end, you know, we knew way more than we're letting on. It was just kind of the gateway to finding out what the bigger lie was, because we knew it wasn't just about the affair.
We should have time in here. We were happy and thriving and productive. Okay. And I believe that she has the reason that happened.
You know, it's common in these types of cases that there's the victim blaming, so that it's easier for the suspect to say, yeah, it wasn't all just me, like I did it because they pushed me to it, or I was forced to do it, giving Chris a possible reason as to why this would have happened.
I believe that she's a controlling person. Maybe didn't push you as much as she should. I think that she can do whatever she wants.
Agent Coder and Agent Lee are providing him other alternatives, other possibilities as to what may have happened, other reasons that something may have happened, in an effort to try to see what his reaction is going to be.
Can I do something to them? No, I'm curious. I have no clue. So you wouldn't know. They didn't leave the house. Did Shanann do something to them, and then you feel like they would do something to Shanann?
Hey guys, I hope you all are having a great evening. This case that I'm talking about, the Chris Watts case, the Watts family case, it's actually really near and dear to my heart. I've done a lot of study on it, read the discoveries, watched a lot of YouTube videos, news reports, news clippings, articles, basically studied this case. So, if anybody knows anything about the Chris Watts case, it's totally out of left field. Just like the investigator said, nothing made sense. It's very strange that this would happen to a basic suburban family. But I've been waiting for a little over a year for Tammy Lee, the investigator, to make some statements. And she did on the Oxygen channel for Criminal Confessions, and I was very, very interested in that. So that's why I'm covering this story. I took some notes, so let's get into it, guys. Right away, Tammy said she could tell Shanann loved her daughters and her job when she was looking through Shanann's Facebook. But before that had even happened, the worst case, this has been the worst case in Tammy Lee, the CBI agent's career. She said this was the worst case she's ever done, and it's affected her a lot. She actually had to have therapy, and this wasn't actually on the Oxygen special, but it's something that I do know from another short interview that she had put in the discovery that she had to have therapy because it affected her so much from going to the site. And she also said that when she went into a beauty salon to get her hair done, she seen a mother and her 2 daughters, and she said she just lost it because she thought about how Shanann will never have that with her kids, and she felt very, very close with the victim. So I just thought that was a little bit of insight that you all might want to know who's definitely on this Watts family murders bandwagon. The first thing that Tammy Lee said and gave her personal opinion on was she had a couple of different scenarios. First, she said that when she heard of the case and she was called in for the case, she wasn't sure if how Chris was saying, well, I don't know what happened to them. I left for work and they were still here, and then all of a sudden, everything was on video from the next door neighbors of him backing out his truck, but Shanann not leaving the house with the kids, and all of that mysterious, of course investigators are going to look at her phone's here, her rings here, her medicine's here, the kids' medicine is here, Shanann's car's here, their car seats are here. Clearly, if you are even trying to escape your life, you're going to take EpiPens for the youngest who has tree nut allergies. She was also, Shanann had lupus, and she had low blood sugar. So of course, she would also be taking her medicine as well. But all of that was left. Like, I don't understand what kind of criminal Chris Watts is if he wanted to make it look like they up and disappeared or left on their own, then at least do it right. But I'm glad he didn't, because who murders their family? A shitbag like him, obviously. But that threw Tammy Lee right off from the bat. She said in her interview that basically this lady she wasn't sure if Shanann was distraught for the marital issues and took off, or did somebody hurt her and Bella and Cece. And for those of you that may not know, Bella and Cece are the 4 and 3-year-old daughters of Shanann and Chris Watts. So Tammy Lee, the CBI agent, started looking into the backgrounds of Shanann and Chris Watts, and they had no criminal record. So she started taking on to social media to see, if Shanann if there was any kind of clues in her social media, because that's a big thing. And immediately she said through her videos that, this is Tammy Lee speaking, that she connected with Shanann so well because she was such a strong and sassy, determined young lady, and she came from a long line of Italian women, and so did the CBI agent Tammy Lee. Sorry, guys. Right after Tammy said she could tell, that Shanann loved her children, she knew that Chris had to have something to do with this. So Tammy said that they were watching, they as in her and Special Agent Coder, and everybody at the department were watching Chris's first interview of him on the porch begging for his family to come back with no emotion in his face at all, and begging for his family's safe return and whoever has them to bring them back and all this. And then Tammy Lee thought, that was very odd, but she said it was even odder to see that he started talking about him and Shanann having the emotional conversation that morning. Like, she said, why would he even mention that in a news interview when it's supposed to be about her and her disappearance? Why would he say that? She's on to something. Tammy said after hearing the interview and watching his body language, she looked at Special Agent Coder, whom she never met before, and said, oh shit, we need to get him in here now. Tammy Lee said Chris was in the interview room with Special Agent Coder for 3 hours. And he would not confess. And Special Agent Coder was giving him ways to confess, but he wouldn't. So Tammy Lee had asked Chris Watts to come back the next day for a polygraph test. So he came back the next day, and Tammy was telling Chris the polygraph test was basically straight up forward with him, telling him, if you're lying about anything about Shanann's appearance or disappearance, it's going to come out right now. The truth is going to come out. Chris took the polygraph test anyway, and she asked him all the questions that needed to be, and about Shanann and the girls and everything. And Chris Watts failed the polygraph test. Big surprise, huh? And she told him, you are a very bad liar. He failed the polygraph test. Now, in the polygraph test, failing is a -4. Below that score, Chris made a -18. And then told Tammy Lee that he wasn't lying after she called him out about him failing the polygraph, saying that, it must have been wrong, No, you failed it miserably. It's not wrong. I don't understand why he thinks that his lies are so good that it's believable. Like, his lies are crap. Like, they're terrible. My 6-year-old could lie better than Chris Watts. He's awful. And for some reason in his head, he's thinking, yeah, I'm doing a good job. Like, they're believing me. No. Nobody's believing you. You murdered your family and covered it up in the worst way. And you're a terrible person. Tammy Lee said that she didn't have time to get a chance, or she didn't even get a chance when Chris asked to speak to his father, because she knew that if he was going to confess in any kind of way, that it would probably be to his father, Ronnie Watts. So she didn't have a chance to go through her supervisors and ask if that was okay. Like, they had to make an executive split decision right then and there. And they brought Ronnie Watts in, and he did tell Ronnie Watts, his father, a version of the truth. At least he said that he killed Shanann because Shanann killed the girls, because he didn't want to take responsibility for that. He was still trying to get out of it, knowing that he killed his whole family. But they were watching all of that, and they immediately knew they had to get back in there. And she said, Tammy Lee said Chris Watts, as soon as she walked in there, she started rubbing his back, and he was very uncomfortable. Immediately, just very uncomfortable. And she wanted him to be uncomfortable. She wanted him to feel that, because this time she wasn't playing around. She wasn't going to be his friend. She wanted to know what happened and where were Shanann and the girls. Where were they? Because she knew she had to go get them. What was really sad about it all was that Tammy Lee, she broke down and said that she cried over this case more than he did, the husband and the father. She says she still cries to this day, and every little thing that, she thinks that Shanann might like, or she sees a family or their girls growing up and things like that, it reminds her of Shanann. Could you imagine just being haunted by a ghost of this case? She did her justice. Tammy Lee, she got him put back behind bars, and she got justice for that family. Not just her, but like everybody that's involved in the case. And the DA was great. I loved watching the court sentencing when he said these were his daughters. That was so overpowering when he said it like that. These were his daughters. And they are. How do you do that? But I just want to touch base with you all on the Chris Watts special on the Oxygen channel. It's Criminal Confessions Season 3, Episode 1. Very, very good, very telling episode. So if you all are interested in the Watts case, go check that out. I just wanted to do a very short commentary on it, just because I was really excited to finally see that Tammy Lee was giving some sort of statement, because I always wondered, watching the interview videos, what was she actually thinking? Like, what was really running through her head? And she tells that in the Oxygen special, which is amazing. So please check that out, guys, if you're interested. And thank you for watching this video. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. And if you all want to help me reach that, I would be so grateful for you guys. Thank you all so much for all of your comments, and you all have said some of the sweetest, nicest things. Again, I'm trying to get back to all of you. I think I do. If I've missed like one or two, let me know. I'll get back to you guys. I love doing this kind of stuff. So, like I said, this case is really like near and dear to my heart. It's something that I take as precious. That family was precious, not the husband. He's a total asshole. Speaking of, right before I go, I was very disappointed that they didn't really put the Nicole Kessinger line in there too much. They just basically said that he was having an marital affair, but I wish they would have dug deeper into that, guys. That's the only complaint I have about the Criminal Confessions episode with Chris Watts. Anyways, just let me know what you would like for me to cover on true crime. I love it. That's definitely my passion. Get back to me, and please subscribe, and I'll get back to you guys. Thanks.
I just couldn't believe a father could do something so horrible to his children and his wife.
Was there sheet found down here? Where's that from?
I was completely disgusted. I felt sick. But at the same time, I was like, we need to go get them. We need to go get them right now. I knew everyone's lives were going to be changed from that moment on.
I would hate for Shane to get a bad rap. She was going to be out there.
Shanann's pregnant, she's exhausted. I don't believe she's going to wake up, after 2-3 hours of being home from a trip, then to go murder her 2 daughters. To me, that made no sense at all.
Should we go with the public knowing that Shanann killed herself? I did not hear any girl. Are you okay with the public knowing that Shanann? Yes, because I did not hear any girl.
I did not believe at all that Shanann had done anything to her family to hurt them. I believed that Chris murdered his entire family.
He shook my hand hours after he did this to his family.
Our goal was to get that family back together as soon as possible.
We all struggled with the fact that we didn't know what the truth was.
The interview that he gave is worse than any of us could have possibly imagined.